Professional SAS Tutor.
Hello everyone. Today we are going to start a very important topic, and that topic is known as sampling. What do you understand by sampling? Or what do you understand by a population? Where we are dealing with every individual under consideration, under study, for whom we are actually going to conclude, or we are going to come up with some decision. So 100% of your data is your population. Of this, now it's not feasible to actually study the full 100%, because in the census data, let's speak, we are considering the census data, which means some children are getting born each day and some people are dying each day, which means this is actually changing the population. So what we do is we take out small samples. So I would say that a subset of the population is known as a sample. But there is one property that's very much associated with sample. So this is a sample, and the technique that is used to select the few people out of this population is known as sampling. So sampling is a technique to select a sample. But the very most important property of sample is it should be representative. It should be a biased. It shouldn't be a biased sample, it should be an unbiased sample. Why unbiased sample? Because we are actually working on this and results would also be predicted on this, which means if this is a biased sample, then the results would also be biased. So it should be unbiased. Okay. How do we do sample? So let's be, every one of us have been through the sampling technique. What we used to do, if there are 1,000 people, we make 1,000 chits. And then in a carton box, we used to drop those chits. So these are those chits. We ask a small kid or any individual to come up and start picking one chit at a time. Let's say chit number 10 has been picked up. Okay, then the winner is 10. Now the second winner has to be chosen. But before the second winner has to be chosen, what has to be done for chit number 10? There can be two things that can happen. Either this chit can be thrown out of the box, either this chit can be thrown back into the box. Now see the two scenarios. When the chit is thrown back into the box, chances are that 10 could be picked again, which means the second winner is also 10, and chances are that the third winner will also be 10 if it's put back again. But if you place this outside, there is no chance that 10 could be picked up again. So if you see, you are actually putting back into the box. Putting back into the box is known as with replacement. Out of the box is known as without the replacement. In with replacement, what you're trying to do is you're saying that once you pick up chit number 1, the probability of picking chit number 1, if there are 10 people, this would be 1 by 10. If it's put back into the box, for this, it's again 1 by 10, so the probability remains the same for every individual every time. But if you throw it outside of the box, for the first one it's 1 by 10, for the second one it would be 1 by 9, and so on. So you see, the leftover ones have now the higher probability than the ones that are actually already picked up. So this comes without replacement. Where do you do this? With replacement, without replacement? Okay. Suppose there is an organization and you are a part of that organization and your boss comes to you and says that, okay, we allocate you a budget of 1 CR. And you can spend this 1 CR on running campaigns, which means you can target people. Now, so what you do is you have a methodology in mind that you are not spending 1 CR at one go. You divide this 1 CR in 4 quarters, which means 25 lakhs per quarter. So in Q1 you are spending 25, and Q2 you are spending 0.25, and Q3 you are spending 0.25. In Q4 you are spending 0.25 CR. Now at the end the organization wants to know that yes, it has earned profit out of it. How will it do so? Which means there's obviously a profit that should come out of the campaigns that you were driving, and you should tell that. But in the very end, how are you going to tell whether there's a profit that's coming from the campaign that you target? Because there are a few things that happen. You target people, and there are people who may buy your product and who may not buy your product. So, if people do not buy your product, which means you end up in a loss because you targeted people and there was actually a loss. You targeted people and they actually purchased your product, they bought your product, so there is a profit that is coming out. Now, there are people that you didn't target, no target. Again, there are people whom you didn't target, but they may buy the product, they may not buy the product. It's not only the people that you target will buy the product, it's not only the people that you target will buy the product. So it's both the cases for both the targets and the non-targets. But specifically speaking, so I would say the revenue is actually generated from this person and this person. But when I speak solely in terms of revenue, profit, loss of a campaign, I will take only this population into consideration, which means now you need to divide the groups. So a list is actually given to you. Okay, this is the list. You can send out your campaigns to. You can target these people. But the manager, the person who is allotted 1 CR, has to, at the end of the day, tell me that there was a profit from the campaign. So what usually you do, if these are individuals, you segregate them into 2 groups, which means one group and another group. This group is known as test, this group is known as control, which means you will be targeting your campaigns only on the test. You will not be targeting these people. No target, target. Target is also known as solicit. Non-target is also known as non-solicit. Now let's say there are 5 individuals, A, B, C, D, E, which means they are a part of the population. You're breaking down into 2 parts. Now suppose this is test, 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 control, control. You actually select them on a random basis. So this could be haphazard as well. So now the question arises. You have divided them into a test and control. So you'll be targeting these people, you won't be targeting these people. This is for quarter 1. In quarter 2, you do the same activity, repeat the same activity again, which means A, B, C, D, E. In quarter 2, you did some changes, and because of those changes, A becomes a part of the control, B becomes a part of the test, C becomes a part of the control, test, test. Now, at the end of Q4, same thing Q3 goes like, Q4 goes like, at the end of Q4, if I want to find out, okay, was a part of the targeted or a non-targeted? I will say once it was targeted, once it's not targeted, which means at the end of Q4, I'm not able to finalize whether that person was targeted or not targeted. That person should be either targeted or non-targeted. We shouldn't come up in both the groups. Which means you have selected a chit thrown out in test. If you pick that chit again, and chances are that the same person is picked up in test and control. So for dividing your sample into test and control, you use without repeats. So this is the technique that you'll use going forward.